Hi, my name is Phil Maynard, and I'm the Director of Discipleship Ministries at First Hand Methodist Church in Dothan, and it is my privilege to bring to you the good word for today. The word that I'd like to share with you is the word margins. Margins. Our theme for Palm Sunday worship is a life of generosity, and when it gets all boiled down, generosity is really about margins. It's about spending less than we make. It's about not using all of the time that we have on ourselves. It's about using some of our energy, our God-given energy, to make a difference in other people's lives. Margins. From the very beginning of the Bible, way back in the Old Testament, the people of Israel were encouraged to not harvest all the way out to the edges of their field. They were to leave a rim around their field so that the poor would be able to go in and harvest the remains and be able to take care of their families. That's the idea behind tithing that we talk about in the church, that we don't spend all of our resources, we don't use all of our resources on ourselves, but that we set aside part of them, some margins, to be able to take care of those who are less fortunate than we are. But generosity is bigger than just money or giving away food. Generosity includes margins with our time. So all of us have the same amount of time that we work with every week, and yet there are some people who just find time to go and make a difference in somebody's life. Maybe it's to go to the harbor and sort items or feed the homeless in the community. Maybe it's serving in one of the other social service organizations that do so much good around town. These people find time because they've built margins into their lives. They have the desire to make a difference, and they're willing to use less of their time on them and part of it to make a difference for others. The same goes for our energy and other resources that we have. God has provided all of these things. They are a gift to us. They are an expression of God's love for us that God designed from the very beginning for us to be a people who were generous, who lived within margins so that we could make a difference for other people, because there will always be needy. Jesus talked about that there would always be those who were poor around us. And part of our responsibility as the body of Christ is to meet some of those needs. And we do that by setting margins. So let me give you a really quick example. I had an opportunity a couple of years ago. My younger brother, 12 years younger than I am, called and asked for help. They were in a desperate situation. They weren't sure how they were going to put food on the table. They weren't sure how they could pay the rent, just rent for a camper spot. So it was a difficult time for them. And I said, of course, now we'd be glad to help out, and contacted my dad as well. And we provided some resources so that he and his wife could make it through some difficult months until they got things stabilized in their lives. Well, I could only do that because we lived within financial margins. We can only support the church because we live within margins. We can only make a difference in people's lives and transform our communities if we live within margins. So the good word for us today is margins. And the call on our lives is to live within those margins so that we can fulfill God's calling from the beginning, not only to be blessed, but to be a blessing to all the peoples.